This may just be the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Yes, according to a lot of recent leaks, the Fold 7 would not just be a massive change coming from the Fold 6, but also the change that everyone, including me, have been waiting for years. So here's everything we know about probably the most exciting phone of 2025. Oh, and by the way, if you're looking to buy any Samsung phone, the Fold 6, the S25 series, or anything really, you can save up to $1,200 by using our exclusive trade-in offers linked down below. Okay, so I want to start off with the design, as that's pretty much always been the Fold's Achilles heel since the very start. You see, the Fold 1 was super bulky. It was thick, heavy, and it had this super narrow cover screen with some super thick bezels on the inside too. Then the Fold 2 was a complete reinvention of the Fold 1. It had a significantly bigger cover screen, the inner display had much thinner bezels. It was really the Fold that Samsung should have launched with. The Fold 3 was more or less the same, but added S Pen support, water resistance, and that under the display camera. The Fold 4 updated the main camera sensor to a 50 megapixel resolution one, and finally made that cover screen a bit wider by shrinking down the bezels, although it was still too narrow to comfortably type on and use. Then the Fold 5 redesigned the hinge to make it close entirely flat, which it did indeed reduce the thickness of it quite a lot, although it was still very thick and heavy compared to other foldables at a time, like the OnePlus Open or the original Pixel Fold. And lastly, the Fold 6 made the cover screen wider again, and the whole body thinner too. However, when compared to other foldables at a time, like the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, the Fold 6 is still much thicker and also with a much narrower cover screen too. But there was one version of the Fold 6 that was quite a bit more special, and it was literally called the Galaxy Z Fold 6 Special Edition, which was exclusive to South Korea, and it was so much better than the regular Z Fold 6. It was much thinner at just 4.9mm as opposed to 5.6. It was also lighter at 236 grams compared to 239, all whilst being quite a bit bigger too, with an 8-inch display as opposed to 7.6 on the inside, and then a 6.5-inch outside screen as opposed to 6.3, and this other display was also noticeably wider than the Fold 6's. On top of that, it also had a much less noticeable crease, and also had that same 200 megapixel camera as the S24 and S25 Ultra. It was literally the foldable that everyone has been asking for years from Samsung. But like I said, this was South Korea and China only. Well, the Fold 7 is said to be just like the Fold 6 Special Edition, only even better. Based on the current leaked CADs by OnLeaks, the Fold 7 would be just 4.5mm thin when unfolded. That is 20% thinner than the Fold 6 and almost as thin as the current thinnest foldable on the market, the Oppo Find N5, which is only 4.2mm thin. On top of this, the display is also getting bigger at 8.2 inches, according to OnLeaks, from the current 7.6, making it even bigger than this Fold 6 Special Edition and also Oppo's Find N5, which has an 8.12-inch display, therefore making it the largest book-style foldable on the market. Now, I should mention that some leaks are saying 8 inches instead of 8.2, but even at 8 inches, the same size as the Fold 6 Special Edition size, it would still be a major leap over the Fold 6 regular. So yeah, I'm very excited for this change, as this also means that the outer display will be getting wider too, and therefore it will finally be usable and more similar to other cover screens of other popular foldables like the Oppo Find N5, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and many others. The hinge is also said to be smoother and more durable compared to the Fold 6 hinge, which to me was actually pretty great, so I'm definitely looking forward to this further improvement as well. And it is also said to have improved dust resistance thanks to updated protective brushes inside of this new hinge. But I think the best part is that the crease will be almost gone entirely apparently. It was pretty noticeable on the Fold 6, whereas on other foldables like the Oppo Find N5, it was barely even there. Now, when I toured Samsung display booth at MWC in early March, they did actually have a number of foldable display prototypes, and one of them did indeed have an almost invisible crease. I did ask if this was what they'll be using in the Fold 7, and even though they couldn't confirm or deny this, they just said that this was simply Samsung's latest foldable display panel, which does minimize the crease to an almost invisible level. And then there are also some rumors suggesting that the inner display glass would feature the same anti-reflective coating as on the S24 and S25 Ultra. Now, I'm not really sure if I believe that, at least not on the inner screen. I feel like, well, yes, Samsung could do do it, it would be much more valuable having it on the outer screen, as that's what most people would be using when they're using their Fold outdoors. But hey, if it is on the inner screen, that could also reduce the reflections caused by the crease, making the new crease feel even more invisible. Now, aside from the design and display changes, another big change expected here is when it comes to the camera. Also, remember how I said that the Z Fold 6 Special Edition had that same HP2 200 megapixel sensor as the S23, 24, and 25 Ultra? Well, the Z Fold 7 is also expected to get that very same camera. The only difference compared to those other phones being that it would apparently have a smaller f1.8 aperture as opposed to f1.7. Although f1.8 is also what we had on the Fold 6 Special Edition. I'm honestly very excited for us to have a flagship sensor on the Fold 7. Mostly because since we will also have the same chip as on the S25 Ultra, the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy with 12 gigs of RAM, Samsung can simply just use the exact same image processing as on the S25 Ultra without any need for specific tweaks for the Fold 7. So we should really get the exact same image quality as on Samsung's very best phone. Aside from this, the speakers are also said to be getting better, which I'm also really happy to see, as the speakers on the Fold 6 were already very, very good, so anything better than that would be pretty awesome. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering where to get these beautiful wallpapers from our Fold 7 concepts, they are all from our own app Wallpapers, where we've just dropped our big 2.0 update. There's now an entirely new revamped search, which lets you navigate individual categories such as patterns, for example, by just tapping it. And inside, you can now see a grid view of the corresponding packs, which you can actually quickly scroll inside so that you can easily find whatever you're looking for much faster. On top of this, we've also added a trending section, which shows you the best performing packs of the past 6 months, so that you can find the packs that everyone loves the most. And below that, we have a tailored recommended section, with some handpicked designs that we think you will really love. You'll also notice that the creators now have their own individual tab right here in the middle, and each of these tabs also has a subtle animation to it when you switch between them. And there's so much more that I could talk about: icons, performance, and so on. So make sure to check out Wallpapers on iOS and Android by using the links below to see the update for yourself. But okay, having said all of this, the Fold 7 seems like the perfect foldable out there. Pretty much the highest end hardware on the market, combined with Samsung's already incredible foldable software, which I've always found to be the best on any foldable. So what's the catch? Well, strangely enough, the S Pen functionality may actually be removed due to the lack of a digitizer in the display, which is needed to make the Fold 7 so thin. In fact, the Z Fold 6 Special Edition also lacked a digitizer, and it also lacked support for an S Pen. But just because the Fold 7 will be a global launch, I do doubt that Samsung will be removing the S Pen functionality entirely, as literally using the S Pen on a Z Fold phone is the best experience on any Samsung phone since you have that huge canvas. So my guess is that they'll just tweak the way the S Pen works. And there are actually some rumors that essentially confirm that in order to keep the S Pen functionality while making the Fold thinner as well. In which case, the only true downside of the Fold 7 will be its battery. According to the latest leaks, the Fold 7 will still have the same 4,400 mAh capacity as the Fold 6, 5, 4, and even 3. And if this is indeed the case, then this would simply mean that Samsung, even with the Fold 7's thinner body, they would still not be using the latest silicon carbon battery tech, which is really strange to see. The Oppo Find N5, for example, with its even thinner 4.2 mAh body compared to the rumored 4.5 of the Z Fold 7, has a way larger 5,600 mAh battery, also with support for 80 watts of charging, as opposed to the Fold 7's rumored 25 watts. So yeah, I'm really not sure why Samsung's so far behind in terms of their battery tech. I just hope the rumor is wrong and we do indeed get a larger battery. But still, even if this rumor is correct and the battery does stay the same at 4,400 mAh, I actually don't think that this will be a major issue, as the Fold 6 and the Fold 5 as well, they both had a very strong battery life. At least for me, they were both able to last me for a whole day of use without any issues whatsoever. Still, overall, I'm very happy to see that Samsung has finally decided to truly innovate in the foldable space, a space that they've actually started and ultimately were superseded by their competitors due to their decision to iterate rather than innovate. And how do you think that this is just the start for Samsung's foldable innovations? Because based on what I saw at MWC 2025, Samsung is also preparing some trifolds, and I'm even more excited for those. Hopefully soon. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Check out our app Wallpapers for some awesome designs. I'm Daniel, this is ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.